If you enjoy these videos and like to support me, TE, and also get some behind the scenes content, please consider joining Patreon. Oh, you catch me in a very rare gem today. This morning we've been out and dropped off Olivia, our BMW E36 saloon at the MOT garage and a few other jobs, and we've come back in a beauty of a same year build as Olivia, but a 5 Series, but it's quite a unicorn one. You might already know what it is, but you might not. It's got a nice wood wheel on, I can tell you that. But when we get down here, I'll show you even more detail what it is. But... Oh, I didn't see that. It's me, Thomas Edward, also known as TE. Look, I've got a very rare unicorn BMW E34 525IX. Now, these are a very, very special car, and I've been meaning to film with this car nearly a year now, but the weather's been against us. So this car was a good friend Paddy's car, who looks after our E36s. This is his baby, this is, and he spent quite a bit of coin on it, so to speak. Now, the 525iX, now, it's a special car, but at the time, in the E34 shape, they did so many special cars in the fact that, oh, this is TE nerdiness. They went from a 518, a 520, a 525, they did a 530, a 533, a 535, a 540 and an M5. So the special variants in that were the M5, but the 535 they did a Sport and they did a 525 Sport. And then the other variant was this, an iX, and then with its 4x4 system. It was the very early BMW's idea of going into the SUV market, and they brought it to America because of that reason. Over here, we only got 300 came to the UK, and only 9,200 of these were made. So very, very, very low numbers of these, and they went from about 92 to sort of up to the end of the run of them, what was about 95-ish. Now, Paddy's, it doesn't quite look what a normal 525iX looks like normally. Paddy likes his OEM Plus upgrades. He always wanted the 525 BBSs on, but you can't fit them on these because everything on the front of these is different to a standard E34. Standard at the back E34, but on the front, totally different. So the wheels were specially made for the iX, not these, a different shape. I'll show you a picture. But Paddy took a long time to find wheels that would fit, and these, he found these. These came off an E36 and he fitted a right diameter and offset to fit on this car. Now the suspension, talking of the front end, Paddy spent 800 quid just on the shock absorbers on the front of this car because it's so unique to the iX, and you can only really get them off the dealer, and that's why they're so much money. And all the parts in general, there are only a very few numbers left in stock in the whole of I think UK and maybe Europe. I don't know. I think that's what he said. I don't know if it's just here or if it's in Europe. It probably is or everywhere. So he managed to get all the new bits, and he's rebuilt all the suspension on this, rebuilt all the brakes. He's been for it. Even had, before he owned it, he did body work on it, and he bought it and carried on doing the restoration, so to speak. So he spent quite a lot of coin on it, a bit like what we've done in our coupe at home. So it's all different on the front, and obviously it's got a diff underneath here because it's four-wheel drive. It's 34 locked to the front, and I think it's 67 locked to the back, roughly. I can put it on the screen what it might be, what it should be, I should say. So you can, the purists, when they like chuck a BM to the corner, in a corner, they like the back end to come out. The back end won't come out on it because the front digs in and pulls you around like you're on rails. Now, the early ones were meant to have an LSD on the back, and the later ones went to more of a traction control system where they'd use the brakes to lock the rear end up. Now this is a 94 car, that's probably what this has. Now I'll show you around it. So he's put the wheels on it. Paddy likes his USA spec stuff, so he's got running lights in here. He's got running lights on the bumpers, marker lights as the Yanks like to call it, and they're tinted. The Yanks would have a full yellow on there, and he's put the extra bulb in there so that lights up. He's put the wheels on. He's put the earlier style mirrors on. It did have later mirrors on. This is a very, very late pre-facelift car, before they went for a facelift. So he put them on. They've just been sprayed by the same person who sprayed our coupe. Now he's also put the sill covers on it, they're new. He's put the Hella rear wing on it, that's new. He's colour coded the bottom of the bumpers because they were grey originally on this. He's put the marker lights on the back bumper as well here. And he's also got chrome tips on the stock exhaust. See down there, you can't beat a chrome tip. It's the best part of a BM, having a chrome tip. Now the main, what he's done, OEM Plus upgrades on this car, is inside. Now he's gone for full leather. This originally had cloth in, full wood package. He's got wooden wheel, what's a TE find, I found him that, and the gear knob I found as well. It's quite a light wood, nardy airbag steering wheel that is, and that gear knob I've had since I was about 14 years old, and I gifted it him that. So he's done a few nice upgrades, and he's also in here. He's put the OBC in it. It did have an analogue in it, and he fitted that. All the wiring behind there was in there, and it just plugged in. And he's also put the map net in. I'd like to do one of them on RE36s. I do like them. So he's done quite a lot of upgrades to make it more of a high-spec car. Now these, the stock ones are these. The standard IXs were 25 grand. The special equipment ones, the SEs, were 27 grand. Now, looking at the original photos of Paddy's car, it had fog lamps, it had the sunroof, it had alloys. I think this is an SE. I don't think this is basic. This is started off as an SE spec. So Paddy has bumped up the options on this with adding the leather, with adding the wood, with adding the OBC. And obviously he's added a spoiler. I don't know if on these, like the E36s, that the spoiler was a dealer fit, like the E36s were. They probably were. So he has bumped it up. Obviously the wheels wouldn't be period for this area of car, but he has sort of OEM. That's an OEM Plus, that is. A bit of a retro mod, if you can say, you know, because it's a later wheel. He's also, oh no, he hasn't put them on yet. He has got sill plates to put on this, and he hasn't put them on. What say BMW on them? They're to come, I think. But when you sat in this, it's like sat in an armchair, because you got these big, you got these captain seats almost with the armrests. Very like the E32 7 Series. The E32 7 Series has that. You can see the action of it there. You see the cameraman just showing out what it does. Now this car shares a lot and was sort of designed with the E32, its bigger brother, the 7 Series. So the style features of this car and like those seats were very E32-esque. So it shares a lot with that. Where with like our E36s at home, it doesn't really share a lot with, because they were a bit later car, because these came out 88. The E36 didn't come out until about late 1991, very, very early ones. So there's in a totally different car. And obviously, if you come around the front, come with me, I think this was the last generation of 5 Series and probably last generation of BMW. Come around me, come here, come here, come around here. But it has exposed lamps, quad lamps, where the like RE36 went and put a glass over the front of them. This was the last sort of BMW with that sort of front end. And also, because this is an early one, it's got the smaller kidney grills on the facelift. You made them a bit wider and a bit more flush. This is a very, very late E30 pre-facelift E34, and it's got the grill badge on there, a bit like we've got. Now there was something else in the interior, what we'll do a bit of a B-roll on. He has managed to source a car phone for it. He wanted a BMW car phone, but he couldn't find one, but he's got an Ericsson phone in the middle. I'm just going to open the bonnet and show you the beating heart of the 525iX. Just pop it forward a bit. There you go, it's big clamshell. There you go, I think it stays up there. Now this is the M50 B25, so it's the 2.5 litre straight 6. It's a Vanis one, because it's got that bulge on. The non-Vanis didn't have that. The non-Vanises were bulletproof, and the Vanises, they were still as bulletproof, but if you need to rebuild your Vanis, it's quite an expensive job from what I've been told. With people got with this engine in an E36. It's I've seen this engine many times in an E36, and it always fills it out. It looks quite small on one of these to me, but maybe that's just me, because I'm used to E36s, not used to these. They're a totally different breed of car to what I'm used to. You can always tell an M50, if you ever want a quick trick how to tell an M50 between an M52, the oil cap's at the back of an M50 and an M52, the oil cap's at the front. Now that manifold there to the serious BMW enthusiast, if you ever buy a 328 E36, get that manifold and put it on a 328 engine, the M52 B28, because it gives it more oomph. That's pretty much the 328 was detuned, and to get the horsepower of it, you put one of them on. These engines, I should say, are 192 horsepower. This car is 90 kilograms heavier than a standard one, so it doesn't feel as quick as a standard 525, but I can't compare it because I've never been in a standard 525, but I have been in a 325. Right? So it's a much lighter car, but I couldn't tell you what the standard one and one of these feels like. Apparently a bit down on power because of the extra weight. Also, these I'd have to put on screen exactly what it is, but this has a different steering rack than one of these because of the front diff in it, because it's so different in the front end. So its steering doesn't feel like a standard E34, it's a totally different animal. It's also this colour, I'm just reading it here, I wanted to remind myself also of opening bonnet, it's Calypso Red. It's the same colour as what you could get in E36s, E30s, these E34s. I don't know if you might get them on E32s, I can't remember, you might do. So it's quite a common colour, this. It's quite rare on the E36s, what I'm used to, quite a rare colour, but I think they do more on these than anything. Now, talking of the clamshell bonnet, I'm just thinking E30 had the clamshell bonnet, E32 this, going back, I think maybe E21's first 3 series were clamshell. Quite a lot of the BMWs up to this kind of period had the clamshell, and when the E36 came along, they put a normal bonnet on, and that totally changed the format of how the bonnets worked. It's quite an interesting design how it all works, with its arms and its 2 little gas struts on it. It's amazing with equipment how they designed it to how it worked like this. Now, if I remember how to do, my mum had an E30. You put it down like that, and you push. Like that. Like it, that's a pro job with TA. I was just using my knowledge from when I was, I don't know, 12, 13, when my mum had an E30. I haven't opened one of them since, so that was my first time in a very long time. See, it's still in there, in the old noggin. Right, so on the back of Paddy's E34, it has tinted glass. Now, one thing is, you don't get sunburnt when you're sat in bed. Second thing, it's like a limo and it's private. And it hides a lot of things. Oh, Alan!
Oh, back of the neck. Oh, Spice World.
Oh, I'll just leave him to it, I think. Right, so if you've enjoyed today's video of looking around Paddy's BMW E34 525IX 1994 car, make sure you give us a like, a subscribe, a comment below. There's a Patreon link below if you'd like to support me, TA, on my adventures and doing all things showbiz. And also remember to click that big bell. Ding! Right, Alan, take it back to Paddy.
Aha, thanks, TA. Oh, Geronimo! Just feel the torque of that M50 B25 as it pulls you through the gears. 40 miles an hour. Have we got a speed camera coming up? Not today, Jose!